Hello everyone, it is January 1st, and do you know what that means? That means that I am sitting on my floor in front of my fireplace with it on, which I realize now makes noise, and so I'm sorry if you can hear that, but I am here to wrap up the year. I've been uploading videos sporadically at best on this channel, and for that, if you watch my content with any degree of regularity, I apologize. If you were looking for me. I am hopeful, cautiously hopeful for 2025, but don't get your hopes up. But yes, so we are here to do a little wrap up and goals. And I am at the end going to touch on some personal non-bookish goals just to kind of put them out there in the world. Like, I have written them down. I talked about them a little bit at work yesterday. And I'm not going to share like all of my goals with you, but I feel like there's something to be said about putting them out in the world and speaking those things into existence. So we'll see. But I do this video every year, or at least I try to, where I do like a little wrap up of the year. So traditionally my goal for the year, I have one reading goal, and that is to read 100 books, to do my Goodreads challenge. As I have said, I believe in multiple videos, this has not been a year for me. It has not been a good several years for me. So yeah, it's been rough. They've not been great reading years. I'm doing a little bit better, and I have moments where I love reading, and I have moments where the idea of picking up a book is just disgusting to me. So yes, but did I in fact read 100 books this year? I did. I barely did, but I did. I may have read like 15 novellas at the end of December in order to accomplish that goal, but I did it. I did it. Once I knew it was like within my grasp, I was searching, I was Googling Kindle Unlimited novellas, shortest Kindle Unlimited novellas, because it was like, it was right there. So throughout the video, I will post up some screenshots from my reading spreadsheet to show you some graphs and everything. They're not like the best numbered graphs, but whatever. So like, yeah, December, I read 28 books. It was also my highest page count, 5,603. I don't know what my page count is for the year, and honestly, I don't really care. I think Goodreads will probably tell me, but I don't care. I think in the new year, going to start using Fable, just because I like the aesthetic. Some other things I track are things like star rating. Obviously, I did give out one star. That was one really shitty novella I read at the end of the year. If you want to know what it is, go look at my Goodreads challenge. I had 2 2-stars, 29 3-stars, 44 stars, and 17 5-stars. We'll talk about the 5 stars a little bit later. For format, this is, part of me was surprised when I first saw this, but when I think about it and I think back at the year, this is actually not that much of a surprise. Normally I have a pretty even split between audio and like physical / ebook, and ebook is usually pretty low, but that is not the case this year. So physical was 18 books, audio was 43, and then ebook was 39. Which is a pretty substantial number, but I read a decent amount of like the Spy X Family novel, graphic novels, which I get from my library, and especially towards the end of the year, I was reading a lot of like Kindle Unlimited ebooks, again, trying to save money. Speaking of which, for source, I had 31 from Kindle Unlimited, which is very good. I am keeping my Kindle Unlimited in the new year, but I am going to try and be very thoughtful about using it and making sure that I'm actually using that money I'm spending. I got 38 from my library, which I love. The majority of that is through Hoopla or Libby, but I did get a couple of physical books from my library this year as well. And I'm going to try to, again, in an attempt to save money and be more fiscally responsible, use my physical library and their digital collection a little bit more. 28 books were books I had bought in the past. And then 3 were from the author. So I think there was like 2, I think Serena Bowen arcs, and then 1 was like a Patreon, like gift kind of situation. So, and some of the books I get from the library or Kindle Unlimited, I do actually own, and it's just easier for me to read them on audio from the library or as an ebook. When it comes to genre, it is a surprise to nobody that the majority of them were romance novels. 72%, and then 9% were fantasy, where these are, I usually on my spreadsheet, I have like a main genre and then a subgenre. This means fantasy was the subgenre. So if it was something like a romantic, like a romantasy, it would be classified as a romance and then a fantasy. So fantasy would be more like fantasy is the primary plot line. 8% were contemporary, so like non-romance. 7% were nonfiction. 1 other, 2 erotica. Oh, I think those were, yeah. Okay. I was like, I didn't read. And then 1 historical, but I did. I had a moment where I read 2 like really unhinged ebooks. One was called Unhinged, about a door. And then I do the age categorization. So I don't really read middle grade, and I don't have any this year. So I had 80 adult books and 20 young adult. You know what's nice is this year, percentages are easy because I read 100 books. I mean, like the graphs do it for me. And then I think this is interesting. I don't remember what it looked like last year is publisher, like if it was trad or self-published. It looks like I did 50% trad and 44% self-published, which I feel like is like a really even, like an almost even split. And then series or standalones. So 73% were series and about 27% were standalones. While I did read a lot of series, I don't think I talked about it, I had some series goals, and I don't think I accomplished any of them. So that's great. I didn't even really make like, oh, that's not true. Technically I finished the Defy the Night series, but that's it. So, you know, we'll see. But those are my stats. And then I pulled all of the books I gave 5 stars. So I just thought I would kind of like go through them. A lot of them are related. Some are rereads, but so the first 2 are The Bridge Kingdom and The Traitor Queen by Danielle L. Jensen, which I need a tissue, not because I'm gonna cry, which I read earlier this year as ebooks. And I think I did mention these books, especially The Bridge Kingdom, restored my faith in reading. And Danielle L. Jensen in general, I think will always mean something to me for that reason. It was exactly what I needed in a moment of questioning if I even liked reading anymore and anything. I did buy the like new paperbacks that have been coming out. I have been buying those. So yes, I do know that the second duology has already started, or third duology has started, but I think I'm going to wait until they are both released, and I will probably read them with my eyes. We'll see. Next was Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, which was a rough read, but I read it. I really liked, oh my gosh, what is the first book called? Divine Rivals. Yes. I am one of those people that was obsessed with Divine Rivals. I bought Ruthless Vows, even though I had literally ordered the Fairy Loot edition to match my Divine Rivals. I still bought Ruthless Vows in the regular edition so that I could read it. And I did read it relatively soon after it came out. I still gave it 5 stars. I think I like Divine Rivals a little bit more, but I was very happy with this conclusion. I actually have another Rebecca Ross book on my shelves from a few years ago, and I am happy about that. I am hopeful that she's like a new favorite author for me. Then I did not realize I read Defend the Dawn in 2024. I could have sworn I read that in 2023, but I apparently did not. And then Destroy the Day, which was the third and final book in the Defy the Night series by Bridget Kemmerer. I've talked about this series several times. I've given every book in it 5 stars. I thought it was amazing. I think it's underappreciated. Bridget Kemmerer, again, is just like Danielle L. Jensen. She knows how to write a book for me. And especially Defend the Dawn destroyed me emotionally. But I loved this series. I loved like all of the characters. I loved so many of the relationships in here. Like not just romances, but the sibling relationships. There's like an enemies to bros friendship kind of thing. And I love that one. I just wish more people would read this and talk about it. And yes, love. The next one is a reread, which was One Good Dragon Deserves Another, which is the first book, yes, in the Heartstriker series by Rachel Aaron. I was going to attempt to read this whole series, so I was rereading books 1 and 2. I only got through books 1 and 2, but spoiler alert, in 2025, I'm gonna keep going, but I don't think I need to start over now. But yes, I still loved this. I was listening to it on audio this time, which I think is what I'm going to do going forward. But this is a self-published like urban fantasy dragon shifter story. There's like a very minor romance, maybe, I'm hoping. I don't actually know though. It is great. Julian is a great hero. He is just so sweet and kind. Next was a little novella, The Calm Before the Storm, which I believe was like a freebie included in something by Danielle L. Jensen, but you can buy it on her website, which is what I did. And it's just like a little story that takes place during the second duology, but featuring the 2 characters from the Ridge Kingdom. It is not cute, like fun, coupley shenanigans. It is serious, but it was great, and I of course loved it. Next was another reread, and that was Dark Triumph by what is your first name? Robin Lefevers. I reread Grave Mercy, I believe, in 2023, because I want to read the spin-off duology that actually follows the characters from Dark Triumph in 2025. I was kind of thinking that might happen this year. It didn't, but it is high on my priority list, especially after rereading Dark Triumph. I'm not going to reread Mortal Heart. It wasn't my favorite in the first place, and I don't feel the need to. But I absolutely love this story. It is dark. It deals with sexual assault and violence, but the 2 main characters in here are amazing, and I love them, and I'm so glad that I get to spend 2 more books with them, and I hope I love them just as much there. Next was The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy, which I did in fact love. Obviously these are all 5 stars. I think I talked about this in my anticipated, or did I read my anticipated releases video, which I think might come out after this video. But I was kind of scared for this one because like the Graham effect, you're like, well, I kind of already know these characters, and this is like completely different. I should never have questioned Elle Kennedy. Never should have. Next was another Danielle L. Jensen, which was a Fate Inked in Blood. I picked this up. I wasn't gonna buy it, and then the sprayed edges, and I was like, no, and then I was like, well, they're gonna stop selling them. So then I bought it, and then I was like, don't, it's just the hype, Holly, you're not gonna love it. Oh my god, I loved it. This was like the first time in a long time where I have finished a book and then wanted to start reading it all over again. That does not happen to me. I absolutely loved this. And I can't wait for book 2. Next is The Devil in the Deep Blue Sea, and then the little novella that comes after it, The Devil Goes to Maui by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I haven't read a ton of Elizabeth O'Rourke, but what I've read has been 5 stars. The Devil in the Deep Blue Sea, I feel like had some of the same like theme points that Waking Olivia had, and it really worked for me. It really hit for me in the moment that I read it. So yes, also I don't usually picture people being somebody, and I feel like the heroine here was maybe supposed to be like a Taylor Swift, but to me she was Sabrina Carpenter. I don't know. Next was Funny Story by Emily Henry. Oh my gosh, this book, I thought I would probably like it, but this book absolutely blew me away. I absolutely loved it. Then I reread Pushing the Limits by Katie McGarry because she released a book that is a spin-off or like a second gen story called Risking It All this year, which features the daughter, I believe, of Echo and Noah from this book. And so I decided that I needed to do a reread first, and I'm actually vlogging that experience. So I reread Pushing the Limits. It sucked me in and didn't let go, just like the last 2 times I read it. And then I will be rereading Dare to You and Crash Into You. I'm going to stop there, and then I will read Risking It All and include that all in a vlog. I am petrified to read Crash Into You because that book wrecks me every time. Next was a book I read for my holiday romance videos, and that is The Christmas Countdown. This one may have been given a slight bump due to Christmas cheer, but I really enjoyed it. It was a fun Christmas romance. I think it was a cute story. I talked about it in my 2024 holiday romances. So if you want to know more about it, you can watch that video. And then as part of my novella onslaught to hit my goal, I listened to Cruel Winter with You by Allie Hazelwood. And let me tell you, Allie Hazelwood novellas, Allie Hazelwood full-length books, me. Absolutely loved this novella. It was perfection. I actually enjoyed most of the novellas in this little collection of Amazon originals. The Tessa Bailey one I gave 2 stars, but the other ones I gave 4 stars, but this one was a 5-star. It was so good, so cute. Exactly what you want out of like a cutesy Christmas novella, and you can get it in KU. I'm assuming you still can, and you can get the audio through Kindle Unlimited, which is nice. And then I have been wanting to do this like all year, and so I finally did it. I reread Sweet Talk by Cara Bestone, and it was just as amazing as the first time I read it. This is an Audible original, and it's like designed to be an audiobook. So there is like immersive sounds, and the characters are talking to each other and everything, and it is just so freaking cute. Like, just, do you see the red flag guy that like reacts to people's videos? Like, I swear he said in a video recently, like, you're so cute, you're giving me a cavity. And that is how I feel about this book. That is how I feel about this book. Oh my gosh. I was doing a puzzle, and I came back from a run, and I was like, I can't stop listening. So I was just like working on my puzzle so that I could like keep listening to it, even though I've literally read it before. Absolutely loved it. So those are my 5-star books for the year. But yes, so let's get into some goals. So normally I do just my Goodreads goal for the year, but I am going to put some other goals because why not? You might think, shouldn't you have less pressure on yourself? Yes, but these are always kind of goals in the back of my head. So maybe if I actually like put them out there, I'll accomplish them. I don't know. So one is my Goodreads goal. I did toy with the idea of lowering it this year because I always say 100 books is so achievable, but for me. But for the last 2 years, I have struggled. In 2023, I read 104 books, and then in 2024, I read just 100. But I'm gonna leave it at 100. It still feels doable, and again, it's not the end of the world if I don't accomplish it. I don't know, I'm feeling very optimistic right now. Maybe it's the new year. Like, I had a really good workout today, and I think that has really lifted a lot of stress off of my shoulders. Like, I did not look at my watch once on this workout, and just like the number on there for my pace was substantially faster than it has been, but I was also a lot better about sticking with my intervals this time. And so I think I'm riding a high from that, you know? Like, I don't know. And then I do have some series goals. So I do have a video coming out that will be going over the 10 series I hope to finish this year that I am going to make a priority. And I'm hoping that by making that video that I will actually accomplish it, you know? Some of these have been on my shelves for a long time. Next is my TBR book goals. So I do plan on doing a TBR tour, hopefully, of all the books on my TBR shelf currently. I think it's somewhere in like the 180-ish range, which makes me very uncomfortable. That is way too high. Loosely, I would say I'd like to get it to under 100 books, but really my main goal is that it be on one bookshelf. So I have 2 bookshelves in my kitchen, and one is TBR books, and then the other one, 3 out of the 5 shelves are TBR books, and then I have a book cart with some more on them. I would prefer that the shelf that has 3 shelves of TBR books that also has nonfiction, and I would prefer that that shelf be able to be just like my nonfiction shelf. Sorry, I had an alarm go off. And then like be able to put like my cookbooks up there or whatever. Not that I have a lot of cookbooks, but you know, that kind of stuff, since it's near the kitchen. So really, whatever the number is, I would like it to be one shelf. That is really my goal. And that goes along with my final bookish related goal, which is to spend less on books. So I have already pre-ordered in my anticipated releases video, which I think is coming out after this. I mentioned books that I plan on pre-ordering. I have in fact pre-ordered all of those books, and I'm going to try to really stick with basically like just buying those and then very minimally buying other books. In my head originally going into this year, I said like no more than $500 on books, but honestly, I want it to be even less than that if I can. We'll see, and obviously like things could change. If something drastically changes in my life, maybe I would allow myself to spend more, but I would really like to focus on, one, reading the books off of my TBR, reading my Kindle Unlimited because I have that, I pay for it already, using my library physically more if that's what I need to do, that kind of stuff. So yes, which actually transitions well into my personal goals. So personally, my personal goals are divided into a few different sections, and one of them is financial. And the main one is that I really would like to just spend less money and feel a little bit more comfortable. I have been very stressed because I feel like I'm just spending money like crazy, and some of it is house stuff, but some of it is just nonsense spending that like I shouldn't be spending money on, and it's ridiculous, and like what am I doing? And so I just want to be more aware of that, track it more, track it better, be very thoughtful and intentional in what I am spending my money on, all of those kinds of things. And then I have some like physical health body type goals. So I will say I debated mentioning this or not because I feel like it is a toxic thing to mention on the internet, but Chandler from Chandler Ainsley did a video a couple months ago, I believe on her vlog channel. I'll link it below if I remember. I've watched it a couple of times because I think it is a very well done video, and I think it is a very brave video to do, where she talks about her body image and her weight loss and her workout journey. She especially talks about it as a woman with PCOS, which I do not have. I am a relatively healthy 36-year-old woman. I don't have PCOS, I don't have endometriosis, like a lot of things that I feel like a lot of women have. I have allergies and anxiety. Those are like the two things wrong with me. You know, I'm relatively healthy. I think I'm also very fortunate. I haven't done the best job of taking care of my body, especially over like the last 5 to 10 years. And fortunately, every time I go to the doctor, I live in fear he's going to tell me something catastrophic, and he doesn't. And I think that that is luck and some genetics. But also I see my mom, who has always been a pretty healthy woman. She's always been a very healthy weight, and she has always been like relatively active, I would say, and like a very healthy eater, with the exception of the fact that my mom does smoke cigarettes. She is a relatively healthy person, but you know, several years ago she had breast cancer. She is the third woman in my maternal line directly. So my great grandma my grandma and my mom have all had breast cancer. And so at this point, even though we know that both my mom and my grandma's breast cancer were two different types of breast cancer, it is still something that I'm kind of just assuming is going to happen to me. And I figure if that happens, it's all been postmenopausal, which is great. That's if you're going to have breast cancer, you would like it to be later in your life. Then I want to prepare my body to be as healthy as possible to deal with something like that. Also, my mom has congestive heart failure, which fortunately we only know about because of her breast cancer. We may not have found out about it until a catastrophic event happened without her breast cancer. So and there's a lot of things like because I'm healthy, we don't look at my heart, but like, do I have clogged arteries? Do I have things that I have done to my body, my heart, those things over the years that I don't know about? Maybe. And that's very scary. I've had some health issues. It's nothing like walking up the stairs at work and then panting at the end because I'm out of shape. This is one of the reasons I started running and doing the Run Disney events that I do, in an effort to become more like cardiovascularly healthy. I have always been, again, like I don't want to talk a ton about like body image and everything, but I have always had a relatively healthy outlook on what my body looked like. I am aware of what I weigh. Like I weigh myself every day. I have no problem weighing myself every day. It does not impact me. I would say 1 time out of 100 weigh-ins do I have like a bad reaction to the number, but that has never bothered me. I always say, I mean this in a completely non-flippant way, because I do believe that body dysmorphia is a real thing, and it's something that people truly struggle with. But I really do think I have some form of body dysmorphia, but I always call it the good body dysmorphia, where in my head, my body is smaller than it is. And that's great because it allows me to have less criticism of my body, and to kind of like mistreat my body or think that it's not doing its purpose or anything. But it also can kind of lead you down this path of making maybe poor decisions, because you don't really see what is going on. I also have a tendency to gain weight pretty like universally on my body. So it's hard for me to see weight gain for a while, which again is great. It's very dispersed, but is bad because it can really sneak up on you. And I do personally, at least for me, think that weight is a factor in being healthy. So I would like to lose weight. Also, relatedly, I would like to finally, after wanting this for like 20 years, to get a breast reduction. I have wanted it for so long. I've done a lot of like mental work on what that would mean, because there was a period in my life where like being the girl with big boobs was like my personality, and I didn't know what it would mean if they were gone. But I'm coming to terms with the fact that they need to go, for a large variety of reasons. So yes, but why I say related is because whenever I have lost weight in the past, I have not lost weight in my breasts. They have continued to be large. So I do want to lose weight in an effort to maybe make a difference there. I think my band size might go down a little bit because that finally did go up in the last couple of years. And obviously, like as I work out and do more strength training, hopefully that will help me, like my back and my core, provide me some more support, but it's still so much mass. But also the surgeon that I am most likely going to will not even see me for a consultation until my BMI hits a certain number, and I need to lose about 20 more pounds before I can go in and do that. Now, I don't want to have the surgery until like the summer. Anyways, also I know that they will only take off so much mass to make you look proportional, and I would like to have probably more taken off than they are thinking of, than they would be thinking of. So I don't know, actually I follow her on Instagram now. And I follow the surgery center and everything on Instagram, and I like screenshot pictures of like jobs that they've done in like sizes that I like, and I feel like my phone looks like a crazy person's, but it's very helpful for me because it's very hard to be like, I can't just go up to like a random woman, even if I know her, and be like, I like the size of your boobs, what's your cup size? Like, because I don't know what to ask for. Like in my head, I want to be like a B cup, but like, is that smaller than I think it is? Like, I don't know. I do plan on, if this happens, I've been saving up money in my HSA for this for years. I do plan on doing some videos about it. I have seen some videos on YouTube and they've been very helpful to me, just like with the stress and everything about it. And like, I've never had surgery. Like, the only surgery I've ever had was getting my wisdom teeth out. Like, I had my first stitches this year. Like, I'm not a like injury prone person or an illness prone person. So it's very scary. But seeing those videos has been very helpful and reassuring. I know some women in my life who have done it. Every woman I have talked to has said that their only regret was waiting so long to do it. And so that is what is making me really want to pull the trigger on this. Anyways, moving on from that stuff. But yes, I plan on doing videos if I do it because I want to pay it forward. The next thing is something that I have casually had in the back of my mind for years, but 2025 is the year. I'm making a plan and it's going to happen. And that is, I want my splits back. Just my right and left split. Not a center. I've never had a center split. If I get my right and left split, maybe we will address the center split and see if I can get it. But I want it back. I do think that it is for me, I think I actually still have pretty decent like hip flexor flexibility, which is really just cause your girl's got pretty flexible hips. They are just like naturally very fluid. That's great. And it sucks sometimes. But I think it's really just my hamstrings. And one of the reasons I want this is just for the funsies of having it. But also I think sitting all day at work and everything, I think my hamstrings have gotten kind of like shorter and contracted. And I think that working on this flexibility in an effort to get my splits, but by default getting stronger, more flexible and mobile hamstrings will hopefully help me in other areas of my life. Will hopefully help me with running, will help me just be a stronger body, those kinds of things. Yes. And then the last thing is that I want to run a 5K. Now I've done several 5Ks. What I mean is I want to straight run all 5K, all 3.1 miles of a 5K. It doesn't have to be a race. It can literally just be me going out and doing it. But I have really started running in the last year. Like I've started doing some intervals and I would like to get there and I think I can do it. Again, this is a part of one of the things I struggle with running. But I think that this is a possible goal. I just have to set my mind to it. I do plan, I'm not signing up for any races as of right now. I might do some local stuff, like over the summer, but I'm not signing up for any Disney races in 2025 outside of what I'm doing in January that I fully expect to get swept in. And then, I don't plan on signing up for anything, in 2026, at least not in the first two, weekends, like January, Marathon Weekend and Princess. And instead I'm going to take 2025 as a year of really base building and getting that cardiovascular strength. And instead of just like diving into like a half marathon training, as great as that is, I don't think that was the right way to do things. So I'm going to kind of try to start over from the beginning when I come back from my trip in January and just slowly build everything up, work on strength and conditioning, work on my cardiovascular endurance and everything. So yes, and so part of that is just being able to run a 5K. And maybe I can't, but I honestly thought I would never be a runner of any kind. and doing even the intervals that I do right now, I never thought I could do. So I think I can if I set my mind to it. So yeah, the personal part went a little longer than I expected. I'm sorry about that. But yes, that's my reading wrap up and my reading goals and some of my personal goals. I do plan on doing some vlogs, so maybe I'll take you along on some personal stuff. I hope that whether 2024 was a good year or a bad year for you, that you have a good 2025 year, and I know that no matter what life throws at you, that you are a strong person and you can handle it. And if all you do is survive, that is an amazing accomplishment. And it is important that you are here. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.